here from the Weekend Woodworker. Well, in my limited space here, I needed a place to put my miter saw. I needed a table and one that also could accommodate long boards. So I saw this article on Handyman magazine for this table. So I decided to make one, and here's how I did it. It all starts with laying out the sides, the tops and bottoms, and the tops for your wings of the table. And you can do this project with one sheet of 4x8 plywood. I use 3/4 inch plywood. So just measure your lines, make sure they're straight so that all your ends line up. Using a straight edge just to make sure the lines are straight. Now I'll just take out my circular saw and cut along those lines. And what I'm doing here is I'm measuring an additional 1.25 inches away from the line that I want to cut, accounting for the distance between my blade and the edge of the guide on the circular saw so that I get an accurate cut on that line. It's always a good idea to make sure that your board is beyond the horse so that you're not cutting into the top of the horse. Now I just repeat that same process with the guide for the width. Always double check your measurements just to make sure you're on track. Now this step, I like to use upcycle wood. Now if you buy, this project calls for 3/4 inch wood for your frames. So what I'm doing here is I'm using my bandsaw to cut a 2x4 in half to 3/4 so that I can utilize it that way. It helps me get rid of some of my scrap lumber. It also, helps me upcycle some wood. But if you have 3/4 inch lumber, then you can eliminate this step. This also gave me an opportunity to utilize my brand new bandsaw from Grizzly, which I just got, and I had a video showing you that if you check out my channel, and it worked out pretty well.
Now I'm just cutting the edges, the rounded edges that come on those 2x4s square. Once I've got that, now I can cut to the proper width. Now what I'm doing is I'm gluing up and putting together the wings that will extend the size of that table out. So I'm just using some glue and some 1.5-inch brads.
So I built the wings that are going to hold the extensions for my miter saw, and I just joined together 3/4-inch boards. I made them the height of the table saw, of the miter saw I should say, which is about 3.5 inches high, so that when these fold up, when I build the table, they'll be level with the base of the miter saw, and I can extend across them. Now I need to put the frame together.
So now I'm putting the frame of the table together, and it's basically the same process, just putting together the ends with brads. And I'm pre-drilling the holes in the wood so that to prevent any splitting, so that I can attach those frames to the plywood that I cut previously. Now that you can see the frame has been assembled, and I'm just putting the top on. I'm not too concerned about aesthetics, so I'm just putting the screws in as I need them. Now this is the front frame. It extends a little bit below the bottom of the box to equal the distance with the wheels that I'm going to put on the back end, so that I can just lift it up from the front and just wheel it around in my shop when I need to. And here I'm just cutting the final height. Now these wings are going to be attached to the table by piano hinges, and the piano hinges that I bought at Home Depot were a little longer. I needed 24 inches, those were 30 inches. So what you see here is I'm just cutting down those hinges to accommodate the correct width. The supports that go underneath those wings that will hold it up need to be angled at a 45-degree angle. They also require to put some carriage bolts in them to connect it to the frame of the wings, and that's what you see here. I'm just measuring out 3 inches up, 3 inches in to drill my hole. I'm sorry, 1.25 inch in and 1.25 inch up on that board to drill the hole. And I'm drilling a 3/8 inch hole into that board. Now I'm lining the boards up, and I'm going to clamp them together so that I can miter the 45-degree angle at the ends on both of them at the same time. Now you see the mitered ends complete. Here I'm installing the piano hinges. So what I do is I lay the wing on top of that table right to the edge to line it up. and it's just a matter of drilling in the screws for the piano hinge. I'm going to attach the cleats to the sides of the table to hold up the braces for the wings. And again, I pre-drill, and then I'm using 1¼ inch screws to attach to the sides of the table. Before I did this, I tested with the braces to see what the correct position is to make sure that those wings are very horizontal, to when they open up, that they'll be flat and horizontal and not be sloping down or sloping up. And now I'm just double checking to make sure I position the holes into the ends of those wings correctly. I didn't really have a bit the proper size for that carriage bolt, so I had to expand the hole a little bit with the bit I used. And I just put the carriage bolts in, put in some lock nuts to them. So here's the final product. I think it came out pretty well. I'm going to use the bottom to store a lot of this wood that I have on the floor right now. And I've got my new miter saw, which I'll show you. So I think it's going to work out pretty well with the miter saw. I've got to find a place to put it in the garage here. I'm going to store a lot of my wood that's laying on the floor under here for now. Eventually I might put a drawer in there or something for another shelf or something like that. And it was a nice project. It was fun to build. Maybe you should try it and see if it works out for you. When you have limited space, it's good to have things like this that you can move around and that you can fold up. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button below. Thanks for watching.